It's too much. Look at the students. There's no job. They're feeling school. There's no job for them.
We analyze the undercurrents, expose the intrigues, and break down the narratives that define our democracy. Dr. Tony Olisa Mbeki delivering razor-sharp analysis, and Ebuka Franklin and Chisom on the question wheel, driving the conversation. We bring you the most compelling discussions on governance, policies, and power plays. Stay informed, stay engaged, stay ahead. The Polity, every weekdays at 9:15 a.m. Exclusive on Udala 104.7 FM Onitsha.
And I must say that, of course, if you're looking for the most compelling discussions on radio, on politics and governance, of course, it has to be here on Udala Radio 104.7 FM Onitsha, because every weekdays we are here to bring you these very compelling conversations on the Nigerian polity. And the program we call the program The Polity on Udala Radio 104.7 FM. It is Tuesday edition of this 9th day of December 2025, and we are ready for our today's conversation. Don't forget that we begin with looking at the headlines we have on various newspapers before we take our topical developments and turn them into conversations. My name is Franklin and Chisom. Good morning. Thank you once more for joining us. I have Tony Mbeki with me. Good morning, Tony.
Good morning, Franklin, Ebuka. Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, the good people of Southeast. Good morning, Anambra. Good morning, Onitsha. Good morning, Indosimo. Good morning, everyone. We are back in the sanctuary to profess the truth, to tell the world the way it is, and to, put issues in their proper perspectives. That's what we are here for. But we must do that with every sense of sincerity, purpose, and also intention about everything we do. You're welcome, and we also thank God Almighty for His mercy. And this is on December, and the vibe, I think, is just really the wave, and then the tempo, the vibe, all these things are coming up gradually. But we're gonna see how they will pan out. You're welcome.
Okay, so don't forget that we always live on our Facebook page, Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Get to the page and join this very conversation. And it's very, very important. Don't forget to share the post, drop your comments, and as well as your location. You can also join us live on our YouTube channel and on Instagram at Udala Radio. These platforms are all there for us to deepen our conversation and engagement with you on this very platform. And of course, we have to look at some other development before we get to look at the headlines, because yesterday, of course, we brought you this very program, but today there are some other developments you might want you to follow up. If you go to Enugu State, you see that the state is actually getting ready for the rollout of a BRT, which is going to come in about 2 months' time, and the government on that very state is saying that they are ready to do this, but it's going to cost the state certain things, because when it comes to economies, that's what they call opportunity cost. A government is going to launch that very BRT, and then electric taxis. I think they said about 200,000 or thereabout that they have procured that are going to land in Enugu State, that at this point in time they are at the assembly stage. But guess what? Many keke riders in that very state, of course, they have some concerns, because some of them are going to be displaced. And guess what? Yesterday, I got to find out that from the records of tricycle riders in Enugu State, they said they have about 18,000 tricycle riders in Enugu State. And their concern is that by the time government rolls out the electric taxis, which is not going to accommodate all of them, because some of them would like to transit from keke riding to driving taxi, and they're asking government to make a plan to see how some of them can own that. But those who are going to displace on certain routes, because what government wants to do in Enugu State is that certain routes are going to be restricted from the operations of tricycle and these old rickety buses that are usually painted in yellow, the likes of Abani Road and Co. So the thing is this: when it comes to development will certainly come with certain kinds of sacrifices that people have to make for them to enjoy that. That is in Enugu State. Then we now move away from Enugu State, going to other places. There's one video trending online that if you're active online, you must have seen it. It's a video of the First Lady of Nigeria, talking about the wife of Mr. President, Senator Olusegun, where he told the governor of Osun State that he should stop singing and go straight to the point and deliver his speech, or else she's going to turn off the microphone. That happened at an event in Osun State, where the wife of the president was to be conferred with a certain title. I think it's called Yeye or something. I don't know whether it's the right pronunciation in Yoruba language. Yes. So that one happened there. So you can see that trend. Even not this very morning, when I woke up and checked X, Remi Tinubu was trending on X as number 1. If you move away from that, and then we talk about what the U.S. rep said yesterday regarding the engagement they'll be having with Nigeria on the killings we have had so far in this very country. Talking about Rep Riley Moore, he's part of the delegation in Nigeria who have been having engagement with the government. He said that this cooperation is moving in the right direction, but what is required is that what has been agreed, there is need to ensure that all these things are well implemented. And Anthony, let's talk a bit about this, because yesterday I was in Noka. I was at the Ministry of Justice yesterday for a quarterly meeting of stakeholders who are involved in the fight against gender-based violence. And that should be the last meeting for the year. And also they took that very time to look at the VAP law of Anambra State of 2017, trying to see how they can simplify it and make it available in different languages, like in house, non-house, in Igbo language, and then in Pidgin English, so that people who cannot read English will be able to read that in other languages. But that something came out from that very conversation yesterday. Now, from the conversations that we had yesterday, I discovered that all of us, in one way or the other, that we contribute to the thriving of vices and crime in our society. How do I mean? From the engagement we had yesterday, we discovered that there are some communities, by the virtue of the kind of bylaws they have, they help to perpetuate the thriving of evil. Then some schools, by the virtue of the kind of stance that the proprietor or manager chooses to take on an issue, they also help. Now, this is where this is where we're going to. That yesterday we discovered that in some communities, if a child is abused, or if a minor is sexually abused, and you decide to take the matter to the police, because issue of gender-based violence is a crime against the state, it's not against community, and you decide to go and report the matter to the police. In some communities, by the time you come back from making that very report, the community will either ostracize you or give you some kind of punishment and a fine. We also discovered that some schools, there will be issue of gender-based violence or sexual molestation in a school, but because the school proprietor, the school principal, or the school manager is more concerned about the image of the school, he or she decides to suppress it. And any teacher who tries to come in is warned that if he comes in or she comes in, he is going to lose his job. Then he talked about the police. Now, yesterday they said that those people who are involved, they said that whenever they have a case of gender-based violence and they go to the police to report, that male police officers are more helpful to ensure that this case sees light of the day. But once they bring it to the desk of female police officers, the reverse becomes the case. And they were now wondering, they were thinking that women are supposed to be more sympathetic to this very cause. Why is the reverse, the case in this time around?
You have pointed out quite a lot of things about culture, disposition, the societal belief about some of these gender-based violence, and mostly we must let everyone listening to us to understand that gender-based violence comes in different ways. There are ways most times you may not even acknowledge. It's part of it. So I think that very gathering yesterday was very helpful. So it is important. But you raised important issues about this gender-based violence, which we know is directed at individuals based on their gender. Mostly if you have any form of violence directed at any individual based on his or her gender, it is gender-based violence. It also includes physical violence, sexual violence, that is rape, assault, emotional or psychological abuse, economic abuse, and harmful practices. Some people may not even know this. When you tell a woman, look at you, look at wanye, in you go. Such statement is emotional and psychological gender-based abuse. It might not really be violence now, but it's abuse. So, and at times you direct someone, or you recall with someone based on his gender.
No.
After all, long while but most times
that is when that happens in the market. Yeah. People come to the market to buy things, and the next thing you see somebody who wants you to buy from him, and they're dragging women by their hands.
Yeah.
And if that woman decides to, rebuff, next thing the person begins to render abuse on that very person. Can we put it in that very class?
Of course, it's gender-based abuse. We have the violence aspect of it, and we have the abuse aspect of it. But the violence aspect of it is when you go physical. And going physical about it, that's the violence aspect of it. But I have also said many times that it can also occur to young boys. Because you try to render abuse on them because of the fact that they are boys and they have not come of age. So it is important that society addresses some of these things. In fact, if you look at the National Population Commission and also Nigeria Demographic and Health Survey, NDHX, Anambra was one of the highest ranking states for spousal violence. About 53% of married women in the state had experienced one form of spousal violence. It could be physical, it could be emotional, it could be sexual from their husband and partners. But the truth remains that even the National Human Rights Commission, NHRC, in Anambra, according to them, recorded about 341 gender-based violence. That was in 2021. But the point I'm just trying to make is the fact that we must brace up. Like you mentioned in some schools, like you pointed out, that police on their own, whenever such violence is recorded and is brought to a male police, he tries as much as he can to speed up everything to ensure justice is served. But if it comes to a female police desk, they try to impede. One thing you should know about women, most times they don't assist themselves. We have identified some of these areas where they don't render assistance, but there are instances where they also assist themselves, and especially when they come as a group or human rights advocacy group in a way to fight for anything. So you also look at situations where schools, as you mentioned, where they have male teachers, especially their relationships with female teachers. But you said when such is reported, because some of these students, they are quick enough, many of them, they are enlightened, they can also report some of these incidents. But when they report some of these incidents, what happens afterwards? And then the proprietors, you said, or the principals, you said, maybe concerned that we wouldn't want our school to be on the headlines for negative reason. That's just their primordial thought. We don't want these headlines for negative reasons. If we should be on headlines, it should be for something positive. It should be where we are winning accolades, where we are winning awards, where we are breaking records, not where a male teacher is molesting a female teacher. And they try to deploy their own style, their internal, room mechanism. And they will tell you that even in the police, they have orderly room trial. Why don't they make their trial open? So if police could have ordinary room trial, if military could also have their own court martial, trying to do their own things, their own way, trying to also ensure they don't attract negative publicity, why can't we also do our ordinary room trial? But the fact remains that why you may not do that ordinary room trial is because there is a law guiding gender-based violence in Nigeria. And for the fact that that law does exist, it is important that you will know all you need to know about the law. Because if you look at the law, VAPP, and you want to know, it is mainly the law governing gender-based violence, Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act 2015. That is VAPP. And I'm aware Anambra State domesticated that very law. That was in 2017. The law was made in 2015. Anambra domesticated it in 2017. What it means that it has come into effect in Anambra State, apart from the fact that that law is a national law. It is domesticated in Anambra State under the VAPP, Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act 2017 of Anambra State, rape is redefined more broadly. It is no longer limited to, penile vaginal penetration or non-consensual penetration of any orifice with, any of these, but they make it broad. Both men and women can be victims or perpetrators of rape. So Anambra tried to expand what they got from the national body, but it's important that for the fact that such law does exist, you cannot do orderly room trial, because there are some laws that empower police and maybe their military counterpart to go on with what they are doing, but what law also governs you? So if you try to protect, shield such acts, especially when reported, you are also involved, because the law would definitely have a punishment for somebody who tries to shield.
Okay, just to mention this, because during the conversation, Enugu was mentioned as a place where there seems to be this hush about issues of gender-based violence, happening in that very area, because some persons who have done programs and projects there, they shared the experience they had there when they went to that very place. Then they mentioned, I think it's either Igbo or Umuawulu that they mentioned that said that the man has been very exemplary, that the moment he hears of any gender-based violence, he uses his own personal money to ensure that people get justice. Now, both the victim, the family, even for them to go to court, the logistics and everything, he ensured that he takes care of this thing so that nobody will have an excuse to say, we don't have money to pursue this very case. And they are saying that this is the kind of thing that they will want some other traditional rulers for them to emulate, so that everybody can join hands in the fight against gender-based violence.
If you ask for emulation, there are people that are touched by the spirit or by their conscience or by anything, and most times you can't have everyone emulating something that is good. But I think what we should do as a people would be a situation where the president unions of every town should have such a unit within their union. It's important that men and women are also put in that unit that will ensure that any gender-based violence victim is served with justice. So if you have it domesticated in unions we have in Anambra State, like we have about 178 town unions, and if every town union has such a unit within its own operation, it will get a long way as against somebody trying to emulate. When you keep waiting for such emulation, you may not see it, and the damages will continue to go on. I think we should have such a unit amongst the town unions executives, where they will look out for such situations and ensure that is taken up, because we must make town union to be the fourth tier of government.
Okay, so quickly, so what do you think about that very video that has been trending regarding what the First Lady did to the governor of Osun State, Adeleke, the one known as Dancing Governor, where she went to him and told him, stop singing, I give you 5 minutes for you to finish your speech. And when it seemed to her that Adeleke was not listening to what she said, she came back the second time and said, if you fail to do this in 5 minutes, I'm going to put on the microphone.
I don't understand Yoruba. And then I saw the video, and possibly she was speaking in Yoruba, because if I do understand Yoruba, I'll be able to say what I heard. But I think people are blowing this out of proportion, because the video I saw did not in any way show hostility coming from the First Lady. I'm not holding brief for anybody, because Adeleke, the governor, started singing and dancing, and then it was a festival where Ooni of Ife was marking a particular milestone, and she was to be conferred with chieftaincy title, and she has other itinerary. There are other things that she had planned for herself, that other places she will also be going. And for me, she could have sent any of her aides, but an aide cannot talk to the governor. An aide cannot talk to the governor, but she could have sought the assistance of the aide-de-camp to the governor, and possibly the aide-de-camp to the governor can also pass that message. But she felt that may take a longer time, and she felt that they need to meet the governor in person. But from the way she spoke to the governor, it was not hostile. I don't understand Yoruba, but I saw what she was whispering to the governor. But I know she was talking about time management and all that. not the way Nigerians are portraying it. We are just trying to look for trouble where it does not exist. The first lady was mindful of just let's manage our time. We are not really, I'll put off the microphone. I don't think something like that was actually what she said. And I don't think she threatened to put off the microphone, but she was telling the governor, let's manage the time. And that she has other places to go so that you don't dance and saying why she keeps waiting because she has to be conferred with the chieftaincy title. I think Yaya Tinubu of Osun State or something like that. So, but I don't see any much about that. She was more concerned about time management.
Okay, so we are going to leave it at that now. So we have to go over to the newspaper front pages for us to see the stories we have there.
You're listening to the Polity. Get involved.
Okay, so you were listening to the Polity on the radio 104.7 FM. Of course, time is now 9:36 a.m. My name is Franklin Ebuka and I'm with Tony Olisa Mbeki. Let's look at the headlines we have this very morning on the various newspapers. We have 4 of them, and we are beginning with the headlines from Vanguard newspaper. The headline beside the nameplate says FG to court, speed up hearing of terrorism kidnap cases. The story is on page 9 of Vanguard newspaper. Above the nameplate, FG bans cash payments for aid services. The story is on page 19 of Vanguard newspaper. Tinubu seized Benin Republic airspace legally. Senate source. The story is on page 5. There have been discussions and debates on whether it was legal for Mr. President to have, invaded the airspace of Benin Republic without making recourse to the Senate. But somebody is trying to explain that the Senate has 14 days to either approve or reject that move that was made by Mr. President. Then another story we have on the front page says 100 students released by terrorists handed over to Niger government. You can see that very story on page 7 of Vanguard newspaper. Then Advertorial has Vanguard newspaper. So we have to cross over to the next newspaper, which is Nigerian Tribune, which has been in existence since 1949. We have the banner headline here that says insecurity, miners tackle northern governors, reject call for ban on mining. Check page 4 of the Nigerian Tribune. $2.4 billion euro bond, oil receipts, remittances drive Nigeria's $7.5 billion US dollars reserves. A research, the story is on page 5. Court bars Amkan, appointed lawyer from representing GHL over disobedience of court order. The story is on page 3 of the Nigerian Tribune. Turaki-led PDP governors overhold marathon meeting amid convention plans by Wike's camp. The story is on page 15 of the Tribune newspaper. And a headline here says gunmen murder pastor's wife, raise house vehicles in Anambra church, kill 4 in another community. The story is on page 26. Reps quiz neck over 109 moribund licenses, accuses discourse of unethical practices. The story is on page 18. Tinubu in separate meetings with Fubara, 7 APC governors. Check page 15 of the Nigerian Tribune. ICPC Works Ministry begin nationwide audit of 760 road projects. The story is on page 27. On the health column, dengue vaccine gains first major approval. The story is on page 4. NSA hands over 100 rescued puppies to Niger governor. The story is on page 3. U.S. Congressman Moore says security talks with Nigeria productive. The story is on page the story is on page 3 of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. And these are the headlines we have this morning on the front page of the Tribune newspaper. Next is going to be The Nation. Let's see what The Nation newspaper is saying. Below the nameplate, this one says Tinubu bring back all abductees. The story is on page 5, and that's the banner headline on the front page of the Nation newspaper. Above the nameplate, students to access federal government 50 million naira innovation grants. Check page 5. More Nigerian fighter jets troops in Benin Republic. Check page 6 of Nation newspaper. Nigeria, US moving in right direction, says Rep. Riley Moore. The story is on page 5 also. And there is also an advertorial on the front page of the Nation newspaper coming from Tantita Security Services Nigeria Limited. I think they are congratulating General Christopher Musa on his appointment as the new Minister of Defense. I must say that Tantita has spent money on an advertorial in the past couple of weeks in doing congratulatory message. Then over to the Punch newspaper. The banner headline says FG defers 70% of 2025 capital projects to 2026. The story is on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. It has a rider. Government stops new projects, imposes spending limit. 22.37 trillion naira budgeted for 2026 capital expenditure. Another headline says Benefoid coup. US reviews travel warning. Hostages regain freedom. The story is on page 3. Another headline there says POS takeover. FG ends cash payments in MDAs. Check the story on page 28 of the Punch newspaper. And these are the headlines we have this very morning. So we are going to look at the developments that are going to form the bulk of our conversations this very morning. Stay with us. Okay, so let's begin with what happened yesterday. The handing over of the 100 rescue students of a school in Niger State to Niger State governor. I don't know if you saw the video of how they were driven in what we call Hummer bus or what have you not to the government house in Niger State yesterday, and they were received by the governor. And the governor said efforts are being made to ensure that those who are still in captivity are rescued. And on the part of the Mr. President, he said that his directive remains that every other person who is in captivity must be freed by security agencies. So, Tony, for us to cap on this, the rescue of these very 100 students and then their reception in Niger State. What do you think? And then what should we be thinking about for these very children at this point in time?
What we saw yesterday, of course, we saw the handing over of the 100 out of the 265 abducted school children who were rescued. I don't know whether to use the word rescued or who were negotiated with the bandits, but the key thing remains that according to some of the videos and pictures we've seen so far, and then some reports we've got, there was this handing over. And then we are told that Wing Commander Hong, who represented the National Security Advisor, was the one who supervised the handing over of these school girls to the Niger State government. And I also listened to Most Reverend Bulos, the Catholic Bishop of Katangoro Diocese, where he said that he is of the know that these girls were actually handed over. But there are many buts anyway, because many people are of the view that these, we would call them rescued. I'm still very, very particular about the adjective rescued. The schoolgirls from St. Mary's Catholic School in Papiri, Agbara local government area of Niger State. Yes, the children, they were abducted on November 21st, 2025 by suspected terrorists. And they were either rescued on December 7th from Wawa Forest in Bogu through a joint operation involving the Armed Forces, Department of State Services, and police. That's what we are told, that they were rescued in Bogu Forest. And we are told that these joint operation arrived looking frail and then exhausted in such operation. But the children were told they were frail and exhausted as well. They underwent immediate medical checks and they were said to rejoin their families, no doubt. But many people have been having their reactions. In fact, one of the women whose daughter was rescued. Yeah, definitely, if you have your daughter abducted and you heard about their rescue, you will be happy, no doubt. But many Nigerians have the view that what really transpired, you wouldn't. Did you pay ransom? Did you negotiate? Because people are concerned that not even a single bandit was arrested. Not even a single bandit was either killed. That's the security language, neutralized. And there is something many believe that the government is not telling us. If you rescue people from forex, were they kept? Because if they were kept in that forex and possibly abandoned, they will find their way home on their own without any rescue. Because we are told, after all, about 50 escaped when these terrorists abducted this school girl. So about 50, we are told, escaped. And if you look at the number, it's an even number, 100. So did they do any form of negotiation? Did they also do any form of prior arrangement? Who was the contact person? Who did they contact? And that is another thing. Because if you go for a rescue operation, could it also be that these bandits, on sighting the military or the joint military operation, they flew away, they ran away and then abandoned the girls? So nobody has told us how they were rescued, because we are interested. The idea is, we would not condone any form of negotiation, we would not condone any form of ransom payment. Ransom payment is arming these bandits, arming these criminals, these terrorists, these Boko Haram insurgents, harming them more and more. That is what it is. And we are not clean or transparent in handling of these things, it calls for a lot of questions, and suspicions are in order, because many people do not understand what is actually going on. So many Nigerians have called for answers to their questions.
Now, Tony, are you as a person concerned that government isn't speaking to the questions on the minds of many Nigerians? That's number one. Then, were you expecting government to come out openly to unravel or speak to us about what they went about, or how they went about ensuring the rescue or release of these very school children? And then the third question now is, do you think that government is trying to manage communication the way it's supposed to manage, because this is a security issue?
I think it goes beyond some of these things, because we know the situation we are in is a precarious one, devastating one. That's the situation we are in. And if you look at what happened yesterday, when Idi Hong, the wing commander Idi Hong, who was representing the National Security Advisor Malam Nuhu Ribado in that handing over ceremony conducted in Mina, Niger State, you saw that handover was a complete pomp. Handshakes, speeches, media coverage, and so many things. It was more like ceremonious. If that be the case, why would you turn such thing to a ceremonious event when we should be in sober reflection as what led to this? How did we get here? Yes, we are told that the children, we are looking pale, malnourished, fragile, frail, exhausted. Yes, but what was the pump all about?
Did you see the difference in the appearance of these very kids compared to what happened in Chibok? You know, Chibok, during Chibok time, uniforms were sold for them, and people were asking questions how people were able to, or how government officials were able to maneuver and make uniforms for them. But this time around, we saw some of them wearing their school uniform.
That is another, keg of issue, if you ask me. Yes, we are trying to run comparison. Because for me, I'm furious. How do we clap for rescuing children that should not have been kidnapped in the first instance? For some people, this could be cruelty packaged as optics. See, let's be honest here. What efforts or what guarantee do we have another would not happen? And what about the remaining? Because the president has said, I have given my instructions that the remaining school children be released. From different accounts, some said over 300. Some said, different figures, but I'm to take the one from the Catholic Diocese of Katangara, where they said about 265. Yes, 50 we are told escaped when they were abducted initially. Now 100. I wouldn't want to say whether they were rescued through negotiation. I don't know, or rescued through some form of ransom payment, because we have not been told that. But there are other people that are still remaining.
So what do you think is missing?
They should allow this
in the communication. In the communication management of the federal government, because the way they are managing the communication regarding all the rescues, don't forget that even when there was a rescue in Kebbi State, it was also handled in this very manner, where there was no categorical statement on the arrangement for the rescue or for the release of those who were kidnapped. So were you expecting government to come out openly and say, okay, we were able to negotiate, we told them this, they told us this, or we surrounded them and told them the best thing for them to do is to release them so that we can go into...
Why government may not talk? Because there are still those who are still in captivity. If government comes out to say the way they went about these people, what about the lives of those who are still in captivity? So it's also a factor.
So we can say that at this point in time, government is still on top of the game.
I wouldn't say whether they are on top of the game or they are not. But if they are not speaking now, it may be understandable in the sense that there are those who are still out there. But we want government to speak the moment all of these girls are rescued. But they will tell us the way these girls were rescued, the modus operandi. But another thing there is they should also allow these girls to talk to the press, because they were not allowed to talk. And you cannot interview any of the girls so rescued. So for whatever reason, government is managing this, because government is managing the media aspect of this whole thing. But if that is on the side that there are others who are still in captivity, so let's not do anything that will endanger their safe return. Government should also make such pronouncement that why we are doing this now, why would not allow these girls to talk, why would not allow this, is because there are those who are still there. They should make their position known. You don't keep shooting, you don't keep mum when there are a lot of suspicions, when there are a lot of rebuttals. The thing is, if you look at, because from the look of things, for the fact that they counted 100, not just 99, not just 97, not just 102, it's an even number, a whole number, that's 100, tells a lot. That is one, because unless it's a coincidence, that is one. And then secondly, we realize that we are not allowed, or these girls were not allowed to speak to the press, or not even, in fact, the parents of these girls, they have been also been told not to talk. For now, all they have been doing is to express joy. But remember one thing, we are not following the right approach. I know for sure that there are ways, even if these people demand ransom, government can mark whatever money they are giving these people and go after them through the mark money.
Now, Tony,
government can print money with a serial number. And when you say marked, they don't need to put any ink on the money. Government can arrange whatever amount these people are calling for, the terrorists are calling for, with a printed number, with a serial number. Government can track that money in a way to bring these people to justice. Now, see, I don't know. There are many ways we can get these people.
There are a lot of things that government has had said, and when I say government now, I even mean agencies of government. There were times questions were raised why the phone communication of these very terrorists have not been tracked, and there's one agency that explained that these terrorists now use satellite communication, and that's why it's difficult to trace their calls. And you also ask yourself, how did they manage to be doing all these things? So who is giving them those technological advancements with which they do what they do? But where I want us to look at now before we get to another thing is anywhere we get to see the development in Niger State. And I'm talking about the 100 school children who were rescued or released, the ones who were handed over to the governor yesterday. For the parents of these very kidnapped victims, they are very, very happy. And you can say that what happened yesterday was a win for them. For the school too, a win. For the government, a win. But for the common man on the street who wants to see insecurity tamed in the country, how much of a win is the win for Nigerians?
I think there is no much of the win. The win is for Nigerians. Because many Nigerians are concerned about their safety. And when government cannot provide that security, whatever you are doing, people will see it as optics. Can anybody travel from one community in Anambra State and down to any part of the north safely? Gone are days when such is heard of. And there are equipment, there are technological tools with which we can bring these people. You say they are making use of satellite communication. Who say that satellite communication cannot be tracked? Government can track satellite communication. The location of the satellite, if it is publicly known or orbital path, the signal direction of the communication, both the uplink and downlink beams, the terminal, the device locations, even the usage patterns, it can be tracked. Who said? Even internet communication is even much easier to track, because internet is built on identifiable IP addresses, servers, and data routes. I'm a student of data communication. I'm a student of internet technologies. And I'm just saying this as a matter of fact. I'm speaking as an authority. Because with IP address, every device has its own IP address. Because even the location is based on IP or cell tower. See, let's be real. We have got all we need to track these people and bring them to justice. The idea of these people operating the way they operate, and where government is telling courts, ensure that these things are, the prosecution of terrorists, these things are accelerated, it makes no meaning. Why don't we have a standalone legislation on terrorism trial with timeline on how the trial will be? See, we are not making enough legislations to guide this fight against terrorism.
All right, so Tony, we're going to come to that after this very commercial break, so stay with us. We'll be right back.
From the commercial city of Onitsha comes Udala Radio 104.7 FM, the voice of the region, where authentic news and entertainment meet. Udala Radio 104.7 FM, seriously authentic.
When the city sleeps, the river remembers. When the drums call, Onitsha awakens. This December, the call grows louder as Udala Radio joins forces with the Golibe Festival 2025. From December 26th to New Year's Day, the heartbeat of the East comes alive. Music, laughter, art, culture, and the unstoppable joy of homecoming. This year promises more energy, more color, more connection. A festival for every proud son and daughter of Igbo land. Stay tuned to Udala Radio, your front row seat to the celebration that never fades.
Golibe Festival 2025. Exclusive media support by Udala Radio. It's not just a festival, it's who we are.
Your investment is just one drop. On its own, it can only do so much. Now, imagine a million more drops. This is the power of First Asset Money Market Fund and First Asset Dollar Fund. They pool your money with others to create a powerful flow, giving you access to great earning opportunities. Call 0201-889-4444 now to start with 5,000 Naira, $100 or more. Let us build wealth together. The First Asset Money Market Fund and First Asset Dollar Fund are registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission Nigeria. Please read the prospectus and where in doubt, consult your investment advisor, stockbroker, fund or portfolio manager, accountant, banker, solicitor, or any other professional advisor for guidance before subscribing.
Please listen to this important information on your good health. Do you know that many deaths nowadays are caused by ignorance on drug abuse? Do you know that many males and females now resort to the consumption of unhygienic concoctions for the treatment of various diseases? Do you know that some even take their lab results to traditional healers for interpretation? Now listen, abuse of scientific or traditional drug destroys the body system mechanism and it kills. Consumption of expired, adulterated, substandard and unpasteurized traditional herbal mixture could lead to health complications. So detoxification of the body and restoration of the functional organs is always necessary for your good health.
This message is sponsored by Anti-Drug Abuse Incorporated Headquarters, Annex Sunshine Hospital, number 4 Obanye Street, Onitsha, Anambra State, Nigeria. 08033206819.
Drug abuse is an enemy to your good health. Be warned.
Join Anti-Drug Abuse Health Education every Wednesday by 8:45 a.m. on Udala Radio 104.7 FM Onitsha.
Merry Christmas from all of us.
Udala Radio
104.7.
Merry Christmas Day, sweetheart. Let's go. Bells they ring for the street tonight. Children they dance on the Christmas light. Mama they cook your love, aroma they rise. Yeah. And for they smile, joyfully mice. No they for body love they warm. Afro be breathing happiness don't come. Oh. From Onitsha city to every home. Now say liberty shine food is on. It's a Udala Christmas. Oh, oh. Everybody gather make we jollof. Oh, oh. It's a Udala Christmas. Oh, oh. Turn up the music, make it go. Udala. Christmas day sweet for Udala Radio. Light up the tree, let it shine, let it shine. Love for the season, make we share, make we bind. From morning to night, Udala hold you tight. Now Christmas magic, pure delight. Udala, Udala, Christmas day sweet, oh Udala, Udala, feel the beat, oh. From all of us at Udala Radio.
Merry Christmas, wetalani angole no bioto. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year from all of us at Udala Radio 104.7 FM, the voice of the region.
You're listening to the Polity
Udala Radio.
All right, okay. Thank you for staying tuned to the Radio 104.7 FM. It's now 4 minutes past 10 a.m. and you are listening to the Polity. My name is Franklin and Chisom with Olisa Mbeki this very morning on our program. And before that very break, we talked about what the federal government has told the judiciary to speed up things when it comes to hearing of cases involving terrorism, human trafficking, kidnapping and similar crime. It was the Attorney General of the Federation who made that very call at the, during an event that was held in Abuja yesterday. In fact, he spoke at the ceremony the Court of Appeal held to mark the commencement of its 2025-2026 legal year. Let's put this very word or this very call into perspective, because the Attorney General of the Federation are asking judiciary to speed up hearings on cases involving terrorism, human trafficking, kidnapping, and other similar crimes. Now, this very call he made, let's place the body where the call should be directed to. Is it just from judiciary, or it involves the effort of the three arms of the government? And how do we even get to make it happen, Tony?
Just like I was about saying, or had said before now, this call, advising, calling on judiciary is needless. We should have law on the terrorism trial. That's where I stand. We have that when it comes to election matters. You know very well that once elections are done at the tribunal level, they have 180 days. At the appeal level, they have 60 days. So if we can have such kind of law guiding elections, why don't we have one guiding trials of terrorism related matters? It's not about by appeal. Forget all these cosmetics. For me, these things are for optics. They are cosmetics in nature, very cosmetic. So we should desist. I don't know. That's why I'm saying that the National Assembly is a full-time job. It's a full-time job. That's why, if they are not optimizing that time with their products and results, we should begin to question the propriety of such full-time. We should be having legislation. One would tell you that we have so many of these. How many of them do we apply? There are ones you can challenge. The idea, it gives you room to challenge certain things in courts, even when you know that the court may not really be what you think it is. But it's a step. It is a way to go. It's a sign of, we must have your laws. And when they are not followed, when they are not, you can make a cry.
Tony, the challenge we're having in judiciary when it comes to dispensing with justice quickly, even whether it's in the area of terrorism, kidnapping, or what have you not, is it a question of inadequacy of laws, or the question of the lockdowns we have seen in judiciary due to maybe poor facilities, poor human resources, and what have you not?
It's a combination of these two things you mentioned plus more. Because we've seen situations whereby they lack manpower, they lack necessary tools, and at the same time we lack also legislations. If I tell you how many laws you have in the United States of America, you marvel. Everything is governed by a law. That is government. There is a governance on everything that has to do with human existence, human activities. That is what it should be. And that is why over time, from when they had independence till now, their process of making law, the law industry, we call them Congress and the Senate, that's the law industry. It is full-time. It's a full-time work. So at no time, because once there is lacuna, you'll find judges trying to interpret or try to use their own spirit or thought. See, the point I'm trying to make is we must also decentralize our justice system. It is so entangled. I know many people will not like it. Every state should have its own appeal court for state laws. We should have appeal courts for state-related laws, and appeal court, the ones we have already, should be for federal laws. Why do we? There are some irrelevant, would I say irrelevant matters, but there are some negligible matters that get up to Supreme Court. How many judges do you have at the Supreme Court? Do you know how many matters that have come there waiting for their own time, their own turn? Sometimes it will take 10 years, 15 years for a judgment to be rendered. See, we must unbundle some of the things.
Sometimes when you look at the way our courts run or the way cases are decided in courts, you get to find out that sometimes it might not even be a question of delay by judges. Sometimes it could be delayed by the councils in that very case. It could be defense council. It could be the what's it called again? The other side, whereby sometimes you come to court and the case is called up, and a party to the case is not represented, and somebody makes a case. Oh, can you adjourn till next so and so time? And it takes forever to provide evidence involving cases.
I don't want us to start talking about some of these processes and some of these issues about our judiciary, because it's going to take our time. I don't want us to start talking about it, but the key thing remains that we know what to do in such areas. We have limited number of judges, and we have limited number of courts. These things are problems. They are problematic. And I've said many times that we must also find a way to decentralize our judicial system, where you have one appeal court that sits over matters coming from state high courts, the federal high courts, and sometimes, it takes a lot. How many do you have in the country? How many do you have in the country that sits on every matter? Because every criminal matter, every matter against... See, the point I'm just trying to make is we can do better in the way of legislation, providing the necessary tool, providing technology.
Some persons have made an advocacy for the creation of special court that can try terrorism matters. Is that the kind of thing we need if we're going to speed up trials of terrorism issues?
We can do that.
So who's going to bear the cost?
Definitely, it is a creation of law. We have the law industry, the National Assembly, at the state level, the state assembly, but we are talking about something national here. The law industry. That is why Nigerians employ them full time. We shouldn't be having these lapses. It's not about a retirement home for former governors. That's exactly what we are saying. Where you go and sleep and snore. That's for the Senate. But for House of Representatives, those who are concerned about contracts, we must change the narratives. The way things are going in this country should not continue. It's not taking us anywhere. We must be intentional. We must set standards. We must set targets. We must know where we want to be for anything in so number of period of time. Or see, I think we are taking a lot of things for granted. That's why poverty, inequality, some of the things we have in this country, these things are multiplying. Because corruption, we're not even fighting. We don't have checks and balances. What brings checks and balances? Is it not through legislation? And who's going to do it? We have the law industry. Who's going to do it? With the support of the president, who's going to put his own imprimatur. See, why things are the way they are in this country is because of the generation who are in leadership at this point. They are failing and they keep failing. But I don't want to talk about it because that's not what we are talking about. Let's not deviate so much.
All right, so let's move to what happened between Nigeria and Burkina Faso, because Burkina Faso has grounded a Nigerian Air Force C-130 transport aircraft after authorities in Ouagadougou said it entered the country's airspace without authorization. According to Burkina Faso's government, the plane was forced to land on Monday in the southwestern city of Bobo Dioulasso. On board were 11 Nigerian military personnel, 2 crew members, and 9 other soldiers. And officials say an investigation was immediately opened, and the preliminary findings indicate the aircraft did not possess the required clearance to fly over Burkinabe territory. And now we have heard from the Confederation of Sahel States, the one known as AES, which happens to be a regional alliance comprising Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger Republic. They have condemned that incident, describing it as a violation of sovereignty and the international aviation protocol. Tony is forward to speak on this, of course. We know the headline that Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger Republic have taken ever since the military took over in that very country. And the aircraft in question could be the one that went for operations in Benin Republic. And now, this is kind of a standoff we're now having between Burkina Faso and Nigeria. How do you come into this?
We are told that the aircraft in view was the one that was dispatched from Nigeria to Benin Republic to assist the ground forces to ensure that President Talon of Benin Republic is not toppled or to foil the kill. But we are told that the aircraft missed its radar and got itself in Burkina Faso. And for getting itself in that Burkina Faso, it made an emergency landing at the airport, one of the airports at Burkina Faso. So the aircraft was grounded, and we are told that the crew, 2 persons, and then 9 other persons that boarded the aircraft, they were all detained. But I have not got any verification or confirmation that they are all being detained. But for the fact that the aircraft was grounded, it's also good to say that they are detained. But we have the Convention on International Civil Aviation. That's what we normally call the Chicago Convention. It's the global law that gives every country complete and exclusive sovereignty over the airspace above its territory. In fact, if you go to the key article, Article 1 of that very Chicago Convention, talks about every state has a complete and exclusive sovereignty over the airspace above its territory. Oh, that means that no foreign aircraft, civil or military, can enter another country's airspace without permission. And if an aircraft misses radar or enters without clearance, the host country is legally empowered to intercept, question, detain, or even ground the aircraft. So if you go to Article 3 of that very Chicago Convention, it talks about military aircraft, because it talks about that military aircraft cannot fly over or land in another state's territory without prior authorization by special agreement. So Nigerian Air Force C-130 did not get diplomatic clearance, flight permit, prior notification, but we understand that it means its radar. So it was emergency landing, not something that was planned earlier on.
So can we say that what Burkina Faso is doing is not out of what is supposed to be the ordinary, is doing what it's supposed to do? Or can we say that what we are seeing is that very tension between Nigeria and the Sahel rule states, where we have military who have taken over in those countries?
It would have been a simple phone conversation that would see the aircraft leaving Burkina Faso, but we know that there is a growing tension. We know how this country got into military dictatorship and Nigerians' reaction. Nigeria tried to invoke the ECOWAS plug, and they got into alliance with Mali and Niger Republic. That's why they formed that AEX. But if you look at the International Civil Aviation Organization, which monitors how countries apply the Chicago Convention, Burkina Faso, Nigeria, they are all signatory to International Civil Aviation Organization. What they are doing is not out of order, but if we have a diplomatic tie or diplomatic engagement with Burkina Faso prior to this, it could be sorted out in a jiffy. But because of the growing tension, how they descended into military dictatorship and Nigeria's response to that, how they were expelled from ECOWAS, and how they also left ECOWAS on their own when Nigeria threatened to even invade those countries or using ECOWAS as an influence. And a lot of things happened, and then exchanges were made. And that is why they are taking they are towing this tough line. It's understandable. But I know very well that the concern of Nigeria now is how our military men will be allowed to leave Burkina Faso, because 9 of them and the 2 crew members, they are all still in Burkina Faso, the aircraft grounded. So I understand that Nigerian government is doing so much to see to the release of these military men, but it also involves extraordinary diplomatic engagement, which I'm aware that Nigerian government has taken. But let's see how it goes, because if Burkina Faso aircraft comes into Nigeria, they would have done the same. So Nigeria could have done the same to any country that flies on its own airspace. So we understand what is going on, but you just know that there is a military tension. And then on the other hand, because we got somebody saying that the president informed the National Assembly, and the National Assembly has up to 14 days to either reply or to say no and all that. We are not aware of any application to the National Assembly, because we are told that National Assembly was not even was not sitting. Did he write to the Senate President? Writing to the Senate President is not as writing to the Senate. There is difference between writing to the Senate, where the Senate President to reach it out before the Senate. But we saw how these things happen. Yesterday I did say that the President is constitutionally constrained from deploying our aircraft without the resolution of the Senate. The Senate will make a resolution. And before that is done, resolution must be made.
Now, can he deploy and go back to the Senate for ratification, or he must get that permission before he deploys?
This has to do with outside the country. If he has to do within the country, he can do that and get the ratification of the Senate. But if he has to do it outside the country, he must get the ratification first before making such deployments.
So can we excuse the government, because that could be said that what happened was something that required a swift reaction, something that requires an emergency response.
Let me ask you, if that requires emergency response, Senate can convene based on that urgency. They may not form quorum, or they may, because they can form quorum. Many of them reside in Abuja. If there was such a need, Senate can convene emergency session immediately. It would just take a matter of 1 or 2 or 3 hours. For those who have left Abuja, may not be able to make it. In fact, some can even take immediate flight to respond to such emergency. We have law. You must obey your law. And just like there are some people have been saying that what Mr. President did is an impeachable offense and all that, because we know that he had a good intention, but he actually did not align it with the law of the land. That's why I keep saying we must have legislation, so each time somebody goes out of the law, we can always call the person to order or even challenge that in court. No matter how you think that the court cannot even give you what you want, but it will be on record. It will be on record that this was done and at this time and at so place. So we should have legislation that govern everything. That should be no loophole. That's why it is a full-time job.
Okay, so let's quickly go to River State, where the governor of River State was at the presidential villa yesterday, where he met with Mr. President. And since then, we have seen different speculation on what could be the reason behind the meeting he had with Mr. President. Some political watchers have said possibly he had gone to Mr. President to tell him that the vultures are once again circling. Because we have seen what happened in River State in the past couple of days, where it began with members of the assembly, criticizing him over how he has handled education. And before you could say Jack, 17 of them declared for the APC. And since then, Fubara hasn't made any comment in the media regarding that very defection, apart from the one we heard from Wike. Wike said they are free to join anybody they want to align with.
I think when you talk about Fubara, remember I said the other time the executive in his name has been detached. So you have the governor of River State without the executive governor of River State. You see how he has gone to Mr. President to report some of these members who are in for one thing or the other, who are now making troubles around him, and for Mr. President to guide him again to avoid another state of emergency. So he has done what he did, but let's see how it goes. It's not something we should just waste much of our time on, but we've seen that state is something different from other states. So if you count 36 state governors, I don't know if he'll be one of the 36 state governors, or maybe he'll be one of the 36 state governors, but he may not be one of the 36 state executive governors. You know the word executive, where the constitution has given you power to act based. He cannot act in line with the provisions of Section 5, which provides for the executive powers as we have in the Constitution. But that is what it is.
Okay, so we open the phone lines at this point in time for you to join this very conversation. 0803-221-6973 or 0803-827-6694. Don't forget that you can also drop your comment on our Facebook page, Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Drop your comment there, put your location, and don't forget we are live on our Facebook page, likewise live on our YouTube and the Instagram handles. Good morning.
Good morning, Franklin.
Yes, good morning. Your name?
Good morning. Good morning, my sister, Olisa Mbeki.
You're welcome. It's good to have you.
Yes, the voice of Honorable Mayor Okutukume, JP, Okunola, Otundoluni, Zeleka, Awodamobi. Can I go on?
Yes, go on.
Yes, let me say, why Nigeria will fall into this type of incidents of this programming our plane. I think one thing is sure: the president, I mean the army that is ruling that place, they are not happy with because of what Nigeria did when they held that coup. And I think they are trying to use it to backbite. But I think the federal government will have to follow them with diplomacy so that they did not go to a different thing altogether. Then I want to also comment about the people that are released. Thank God, lives are saved. But what I'm trying to say, I've said it before. If you look at the way things are going about this kidnapping and terrorism, I will tell you that this is pure business from the government side. Because they will send these people to go and kidnap. Now they will go and negotiate and collect money, then release. After again, they will go and kidnap. Who is fooling who? What I'm trying to say in NS is that the federal government of Nigeria is not helping matters. I'm telling you honestly too, they know what is going on about this kidnapping. They cannot escape it. Are you telling me that these people now, even the negotiator, when they don't know them, follow it up and know how these people were met, how they discuss and just they tell us that they have released.
All right. Okay, all right.
But I want to tell you, they continue this way, Nigeria is doomed.
All right.
Thank you, and God bless us.
Okay, thank you. We have a commercial break for us at 10. But guess what? Once we return, I'm going to tell you what the Nigerian Air Force has said about the aircraft, detained in Burkina Faso, because they have given an explanation on why that landing was made. And according to them, okay, just stay with us. Once we return, I'll tell you the story.
Udala Radio, 104.7 FM.
Quality bread, Wendy's bread, for your family breakfast. Wendy's bread, I'll pack it on the yellow. Wendy's bread, mama, papa, they like Wendy's bread, kitchen and do. Wendy's bread, even children, they like Wendy's bread, Wendy's bread, Wendy's bread, get it better, tasty, we go sweet your belly. Wendy's bread, Wendy's your bachama. Wendy's bread,
Wendy's bread, tasty bread. You can contact us on our official address, Second Business Park, Enugu Road, GRA, beside Onitsha, Anambra State. We also have another branch at St. Michael Plaza at Tandy Road. Also contact us on 070-1149-1571. Wendy's bread, your tasty bread.
Wendy's bread.
From the streets of Lagos to the heart of Anambra, the rhythm returns home. This December 28th, Oka will breathe in rhythm and shine in bold. Lagos Jump Off 3.0, the homecoming edition, featuring Annie Dons Onyetaka, Iblis Jarek, Mr. Raw, Slow Dog, Charles Okocha, PB Ninja, Ivata, Diamond Okechi, Eaglet Davidson, Casey Kubana, MC Monica, Abwefi I Go Talk, Slim Sherry, Waga, Ejai Kwamba, Go2 Onitsha, Hype Man Extraordinary, Harry B, Hype AO Machine, DJ Fresh Omen, DJ Alonso, DJ Spin Daddy, DJ Factor, DJ Fabuloso, VVIP table 3 million naira, VIP table 2 million naira, regular table 1 million naira, cocktail table 300,000 naira, standalone or working guest 150,000 naira. For reservation and inquiries, do call 0913-484-4336 or +1970-258-0990. Lagos Jump Off 3.0, the homecoming, December 28th, Anambra State. This event is proudly packaged by CNN Entertainment. Be there.
Ụbọchị dum jupụtara n'ọtụtụ ihe omume mana ego gị nọ nkịtị ebe ọ dị. Ọ bụrụkwanụ na nrụsi ọrụ ike dịka ị na-eme, kwụsịlata n'oge a mee ka ego gị rọrụ gị ọrụ. Sonye na amụma First Asset Money Market Fund na First Asset Dollar Fund ma nweghachita ihe dị mma. Jiri naanị $5,000 $100 wee malite. Ngwakpọ akara 0806-494-5838 ka ịmalite ịmụba ego gị. Ka anyị gbakọ akụnụba anyị ọnụ. Edebanyere aha First Asset Money Market Fund na First Asset Dollar Fund na akwụkwọ ụlọ ọrụ Securities and Exchange Commission, Nigeria. Biko gba akwụkwọ mgbazi oluso ya ma ebe ọbụla ị na-enwe obi abụọ. abụọ kpọtụrụ onye investment advisor, stockbroker, fund maọbụ portfolio manager, accountant, banker, solicitor maọbụ onye ọzọ ma ihe a na-akọ ka o duzie gị tupu ịmalite.
Golden Promise Fiesta 1.0 2025. Be there at the biggest fiesta of the year. Join us live at Sonia Hotel, Sawite, 153B Eziweka Road, Awado Busi, Onitsha, on the 20th of December 2025 by 5 p.m. till dawn. It'll be a night of unforgettable entertainment, comedy, dance, and thrilling musical performances from Anye Dons, Professor Chikobi, Sawan-on-One Women Leader, Twin Parrots, Abuchi Obusi, and many more. Tickets are available now. Regular 2,000 naira, VIP 10,000 naira, VVIP table of 5 persons 500,000 naira. Get yours at number 1 Ngozi Obago Plaza, 20 Enugu Road, Onitsha, or number 1 Pampan Lane Suite, P25, second floor, Merito Plaza, Main Market, Onitsha. Before the tickets sell out, contact us on the following numbers: 0814 394 2802 or 0808 441 5156. Golden Promise Fiesta 2025, proudly powered by Golden Promise Entertainment, sponsored by Melvin Table Water and Callisto's International Limited. Don't just hear about it, be there.
Gwam 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 gwam, ihe si na ọbụghị naanị ya mụtara nwa a na-apịwa ọnụ.
Ode ale a Udala.
Ika nọkwa Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Emetakwa n'igwe radio aka.
You're listening to The Polity. Get involved now.
Of course, you are listening to The Polity on Udala Radio 104.7 FM. It's now 10:32 a.m. My name is Franklin and Ebuka, and I'm with Tony Olisa Mbeki. We are looking at the headlines from various newspapers and as well expanding conversation, looking at the topical developments as captured by these various newspapers. The phone lines are 0803-221-6973 or 0803-827-6694. On Facebook, we are Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Get on that platform and then drop your comment. I told you that I'm going to tell you what the Nigerian Air Force has said regarding the aircraft that was detained by Burkina Faso. This very morning, there was a press statement by the Nigerian Air Force clarifying that its C-130 military aircraft detained in Burkina Faso over alleged airspace violation made a safe precautionary landing due to technical concerns. According to this very statement, which came from the Director of Public Relations, the aircraft was on a ferry mission to Portugal when the crew detected a technical issue shortly after taking off from Lagos. Then due to that, it had to make that very emergency landing at Bobo Dioulasso in Burkina Faso, which happens to be the nearest available airfield in line with international aviation safety protocol. And according to the NAF, all crew members and passengers are safe and have received cordial treatment from Burkinabe authority. This is the statement that came from the Nigerian Air Force this very morning. So let's head to the phone lines and hear more from you. Good morning. Okay, I'll try again. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Yes,
good morning, Mr. Frank.
Yes, good morning.
I'm Tony Olisa Mbeki.
You're welcome. It's good to have you.
You, Mario Keshuka. Calling from Onitsha.
Go on, Mario K.
Well, talking about the lawlessness from Mr. President, declaring sending his military to the Republic. Well, Mr. Speaker, you are trying to explain so many things, but I don't see a reason why you should disturb yourself, because abnormal is normal in this country. He is not the first president that has done this kind of lawlessness. You see, since this happened, how many people is complaining? Nobody. Did our Senate complaining? No. So it is norm. It is a norm. You could remember when Buhari was president of Nigeria, he paid President Trump almost 150 million pounds. That was not appropriated. In fact, they don't even know that kind of money was removed before he now came back and he started telling them. Nothing happened. In fact, it was a normal thing. It didn't happen as if something that is not supposed to happen did happen. So Nigeria is a country that they made law for only me and you. If we do anyhow, the law will have on us. But if all these executives do wrong things, that is an impeachable offense, nobody will really complain. That is why you see a governor arrest a masquerade. Just because of he said, I don't want masquerade again in this state. Before you know it, masquerade will be arrested. On which law are you going to try that person? So, no matter how you explain it, even if senators or maybe House of Rep member approve or disapprove, it still not make any meaning to Nigerians, and that is how it is. Then on the side of Fubara, well, just like what I said before, this man is Governor Fubara is now a Madam Fubara. So I am advising him to keep quiet, to be married where you understand. He has accepted this kind of nonsense, so he should keep quiet and keep mute. No matter what those guys are doing, he should respect himself. No, all right. All those nonsense to himself. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. I'm just wondering, a masquerade that was arrested by the police or by whatever law enforcement agency, is the masquerade going to have a lawyer to represent it in the court? Because, of course, masquerade is a spirit. Hello, good morning. Okay, try again. Let's see who we have here. Good morning. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning. Your name?
Morning, Udala FM. Mazio Jukwan on the line.
Go on, Mazio Jukun.
Thank you. My Honorable Speaker, Olisa Mbeki. My regard and respect.
Thank you so much. You're welcome.
Thank you. Please, I can't listen to you Udala crew analysis as it affects Nigeria's military just action in Burkina Faso and Niger Republic. Well, actually, I concur that at times when there is crisis, there can be mistakes. But what I'm trying to say in effect is that, in Nigeria here, when Donald Trump made mention that there is genocide, Christian genocide in Nigeria, Donald Trump is a peacemaker and is a peace builder. He hardly hates, in fact, he hates intimidation to the core. He said that he will visit Nigeria, God ablaze, and some fundamentalists that are benefiting or sponsoring, or should I say, the original hackers or invaders that are practicing jihadism and migration, was judging that was claiming that Nigeria is a sovereign nation. Now, what happened now when a sovereign nation like Burkina Faso, our military jet, happened to encroach their territory? What I mean by this is that I'm not supporting either side. But what I'm trying to say is that conscience is an open wound which only truth can heal. In Nigeria today, if Mr. President can go above board without consulting even court or National Assembly, intervene in Niger crisis, now Republic of Benin crisis, without consulting our courts and our parliamentarians. But he has not done such in his home state. So what I'm trying to say is that we should not looking for terrorists, invaders, men attackers, Boko Haram. All of us are the Boko Haram. All of us are the terrorists. All of us are the jihadists. Because they are not far from us. We have wars. We have local government. We have state government. If we want to get root of insecurity in Nigeria, we just start from word to word, local government to local government. We get the information and vice versa.
All right.
That all these state governors,
that'll be all.
Conducting parties.
All right. Thank you for your thoughts. So Tony, let's quickly talk about it because I tried to raise it, Brad. For the purpose of bringing in people before we get to expand on this, it's coming up now. This issue of whether Mr. President acted within the laws of the country by deploying our armed forces to go for, can I say, a rescue job in Benin Republic. And people are questioning whether he acted within the bounds of the 1999 Constitution or not. I want us to go to Section 5, Subsection 5 of the 1999 Constitution so that we can look at this. Now, we are going to begin to read, we're going to read from Section 5.4 before we now get to Section 5.5. Now, look at Section 5, Subsection 4. It says, notwithstanding the foregoing provisions of this section, A, the President shall not declare a state of war between the Federation and another country except with the sanction of a resolution of both houses of the National Assembly sitting in a joint session, and except with the prior approval of the Senate, no member of the armed forces of the Federation shall be deployed on combat duty outside Nigeria. Now, Section 5.5 says, notwithstanding the provisions of subsection 4 of this section, the President, in consultation with the National Defense Council, may deploy members of the armed forces of the Federation on a limited combat duty outside Nigeria if he is satisfied that the national security is under imminent threat or danger. And it has a caveat, provided that the President shall, within 7 days of actual combat engagement, seek the consent of the Senate, and the Senate shall thereafter give or refuse the said consent within 14 days. So these are the provisions of the 1999 Constitution. Maybe we are now waiting for the President to see whether he's going to make recourse to the Senate in respect to an action he took or not.
If you look at the one you talked about, look at the intent. If there is imminent danger, is Nigeria on at that point at imminent danger? No. You are just trying to send a combat operation to support and to assist another country, not in a way to protect your own country. So in that line, Mr. President did not follow the provisions of the 1999 Constitution. I think I've said this many times, and if you also look at other provisions of the law, you can understand that possibly he may maybe go back to do what he's expected to do. Just like somebody said, he's not the first president to make such mistake. He's not the first. There have been presidents who have been making this mistake from time to time. So I don't know whether to call it a mistake, but the president hasn't even said that it's a mistake. So the thing is, he did not follow the provisions of the law. He did not. So let's wait and see probably how he's going to make a recourse.
Okay, so let's go back to the phone lines. Good morning.
Hello, good morning to you.
Yes.
I am Uche from Ela.
Uche from Ela.
Yeah, Ela in Oshimiri North, Delta State.
Yes, go on, Mr. Uche.
I must comment, Tony, on what he just said now. The president made an error by sending the troops to what was called to Benin without the approval of the National Assembly. Well, somebody just said earlier on that this our own way of life. We don't look after the law. We do our things the way we like it, because the law is made for the common man, not for the rich man or the politician. Well, if it's in a country, I think the president is standing a chance to be impeached. Because we're in Nigeria, nothing can happen. Because in a system whereby election will be over, the president will be elected, then Senate will be elected, then before the swearing in, we only know who will be the Senate president. Then it will be endorsed by the president, not even by the Senate himself, but by the president himself. So how would you think that such person be endorsed by the president and it will eventually become the president who would do something that will be against the president? It can't happen. It can't happen. So that's why we find ourselves. According to one of our brother, he says, which way Nigeria? Which way to go? Even I can say I am disappointed to be Nigeria. I'm proud, but the way things happen in this country, I don't know where we are heading to.
All right.
And again, there was a story we heard about a few days ago about military officer. I don't know. I've not heard anything from that story since then.
Okay, all right. When we get more information on that, of course, we are going to feed you with an update when we get it. Okay, just be rest assured that once we get that, we're going to feed you with that because, of course, we talked about it here on this platform. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, you're welcome on board. Your name?
My name is Basil, calling you from Onitsha.
Austin from Onitsha, right?
Yeah, calling from Onitsha.
Yes, go on, Mr. Austin.
I want to ask a question before going on.
Austin, your line is muffled. We can barely hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Okay, let's try. Go on.
Okay, I want to ask about the people that have been released. I want to know the mode of release. Did they pay ransom? What kind of negotiation did they do before the people? Did they fight? So how did they release? The government will not tell us. Or what kind of agreement did they have before the people was released? On the other of the Burkina Faso accusation, I want to tell Nigeria the problem we have is because nobody trusts us. Even we don't trust ourselves. Trusting the government is very difficult. Other countries now don't trust Nigeria. That's why this place will land, have an emergency land, and nobody will believe them. Because Nigeria, when they tell you this thing, and the other way, as looking for a thing, because everything that comes up from our government is right. It's all about propaganda. It's all about propaganda. And when you leave a government with propaganda, so nobody is watching them. Nobody can know what's going on. Who knows if it is really true that they are going for Portugal? Who knows? Everybody can question it because a lot of things is going wrong in Nigeria.
Okay.
No institution that is working. Even the president said that, okay, let me call the National Assembly to approve my going to Niger. Then we do that immediately because we don't have a proper and a strong house member that can say this is what they want. They only want what our president says.
All right. Thank you, Austin.
But our president is even letting them up and start doing what he likes doing.
Thank you, Austin. Thank you. Thank you for joining. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Yes, your name?
Morning. Yeah.
Good morning.
Yeah, thank you. Sunday. Hello from the
Sunday, go on.
Concerning the issue of the benefits, I think they are going overboard. Maybe I think this is a trap. Nigeria is a trap, and they are now falling into this trap because now ECOWAS is, will unite now and fight them. As you think now, they are not in good time with the foreign allies now. So it will be better easy release that soldiers to go their way rather than escalating and they do not go well to them. So they don't have any right to, as far as Nigeria is concerned, or to detain any soldier from a giant country like Nigeria.
Okay. All right. Thank you. As it stands now, going by the military, by the statement by the Air Force, maybe there's no cause for alarm because according to the Air Force, plans are underway for them to resume the mission as scheduled. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This is Akamera.
Akamera, go on. From where?
I'm calling from Fegi.
Go on, sir.
I want to ask a question.
Okay.
We saw the way our president just sent our military men over there in Benin Republic. I want to ask, this sending the troops to Benin Republic without our National Assembly, giving him go ahead, is it this impeachable offense? Please, I just want you to give me this thing. Thank you for your good work at Udala FM. I just love the way you are explaining things.
Okay.
God bless you, sir.
All right. Thank you. Akameras, your question is noted. We're going to come back to that, but let's quickly go to our Facebook page and acknowledge the post we have there. Multi-C, watching from Onitsha. Thank you for watching. Okay. Your name is Sebastian. Thank you for watching. Master BSJ says Nigerian government has what it takes to handle insecurity within a month, but some hungry people in the country are using insecurity as a money-making venture. Nigerian government should create joint security task force comprising mobile police, army, navy, and the air force personnel, civil defense, and local vigilante, and pay them allowance heavily in order to boost the morale. He posted from Onitsha. Then Jimmy Carter, a Kenya representing Obuko Federal constituency, he says he's very disrespectful and uncultured for the First Lady who is not elected to talk or act the way she did to an elected governor of Osun State. She really needs to be cautioned. Then Onyekachuku Paul says, he posted from Onitsha. He says, please, okay, thank you for commending us for the good work we are doing. Thank you. Onyekachuku Arinze Ijimbwe says, my name is Arinze, okay, watching from Ebarian Fan Settlement. Everyone knows that the APC government, okay, let me rephrase what you said. Okay, he's alleging that APC-led government is paying kidnappers with the taxpayers' money. Okay, so that's his thought. Then Molebra says, a nation is deemed to have failed when good programs no longer work, where morality in leadership is scarce. Okay, I'm trying to please maybe when you write next, please, if you can write fully without using what's it called again? Not abbreviation this time around. Yes, it's abbreviation. Trying to shorten some words, and when I get to the words, I keep on imagining what that means. Okay, but Dr. Mrs. Molebra, we thank you for posting from our Imo State. Thank you for your comment. Then Odele Aloysius says, thank God that our securities have rescued our children from the hands of bandits. They will soon join their parents, but still asking how many bandits were killed, how many were arrested. Hopefully, no negotiation behind the scene. If the security can enter the territory of the bandits and rescue these children without any arrest, it sounds so hard to believe. Okay, he posted from Umo Banam. Amadzi Macdon Mike, thank you for watching from Fergo Onitsha. Then Rotrakobia Obiawu Ikejuku Christopher, listening from College of Education in Sube, says the scenario of the return of the 100 school children can be described as business well done, embedded in secrecy. No bandits or kidnapper was arrested, and we're supposed to clap for the federal government. There is more happening than we are yet to know. I'm sure the bandits will come back anytime soon to continue with the business as usual. And the Celestine John Paul, okay, posted from Mobile, he says, okay, so talking about tracking the currency given to bandits in order to arrest, does the government of the day actually tell him, okay, does the government of the day actually say that they really want to go after these terrorists and arrest them? Why they have a middleman negotiating for them and they attend negotiation meeting, and he's saying that APC government might be complicit. Then China got on favor, thank you for joining. And then Godswill Okoye says, I still don't understand the reason Nigeria president sent military troops to another country while our country is on fire. No thanks to the activities of bandits and Boko Haram. And he says, no country under ECOWAS has moved to help save Nigeria. River State Governor visiting President at Villa simply means he is ready to join the APC. And these are the reactions we have on our Facebook page. So Tony, I come here to ask a question which I'd like you to address.
Right. I think if you go by Section 5, subsection 4B of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended, that section says, let me read it the way it is here. Section 4, because you are going to look at Section 5, which talks about executive powers. Sub 4 talks about notwithstanding the foregoing provisions of this section, then be part of it, except with the prior approval of the Senate, no member of the armed forces of the Federation shall be deployed on combat duty outside Nigeria. It is very clear. Except with the prior approval of the Senate, no member of the armed forces of the Federation shall be deployed on combat duty outside Nigeria. It is only Section 5 that allows Mr. President to send troops after meeting with the National Defense Council to deploy forces for limited combat if Nigeria's national security faces imminent threat, but not outside Nigeria. It's within Nigeria, and he may consult with National Defense Council and deploy limited combat forces, but he must require Senate ratification within 7 days. That is within Nigeria, when Nigeria faces imminent threat. But in this case, Section 5, subsection 4B says, except when you talk about outside Nigeria, with the prior approval of the Senate, no member of the armed forces of the Federation shall be deployed on combat duty outside Nigeria. So, constitution is very clear. And when you ask Akamere whether he has committed impeachable offense, if you look at what is impeachable offense, if you do not abide by the provisions of the Constitution, it's an impeachable offense. But just like somebody said, the Senate will tell you whatever Mr. President does is good for the country. So what it means by implication, though informal, is the Senate will always give him the support. So the Senate you are crying for, you can't cry more than the bereaved. But you are not crying for the Senate, you are crying that let the law be followed, not because the Senate will always give Mr. President support, but the law says this should be this should be that. Let's follow it that way. Even when the Senate decides to give him that full support, they should do it in line with what the law has said. So Mr. President, just like I said, may have made a mistake. This is his first time of such deployment, but he should also accept that he has made a mistake. So, and then find a way to show recourse and then avoid such kind of thing happening again.
Okay, maybe in subsequent program I might be able to espouse and see if there's any way it could be explained that that the forward queue in Benin Republic could in any way pose security threat to Nigeria, given the fact that they share boundaries and they also have their way of sharing security management. But at this point in time, we have to take a bow because we are out of time. Thank you, Tony, and thank you to everyone who listened and those who joined online. We appreciate all your input. My name is Franklin Ebuka, and we thank you for listening. Good morning.
Udala Radio, 104.7 FM.
When the city sleeps, the river remembers.